What I wanted to try to do is to get a picture of the starter Bendix and get it where you can see the flywheel gear that the starter Bendix goes into, and see the space where I've spaced my starter ahead about a ½ inch. The reason I wanted you to see that is because with this starter in place, that gear sits so far back that when it kicks forward it doesn't engage that gear. And by modifying that, which I'll admit that isn't the best way in the world to do it, but by modifying that, I've made it so that I've moved that starter literally ahead by at least a ½ inch, maybe a bit more. And it's radically changed my starter action. What I mean by that is when I would hit the starter before, what I would get is an awful grinding noise, and very often it wouldn't start at all. Now it cranks over nicely. I don't know if it will actually crank being dead cold like this, but we'll try it so you can see what I mean. Now keep in mind that it is dead cold. So it's actually running. That is a huge difference from what was happening before. I would hit that starter and it would just grind or spin or something, but in any case it would clank and make a noise that sounded like, well, it'd be a noise that Mrhevyshevy described it as one that would scare the children. So I just wanted to share that little workaround fix. I don't know if any of the others of you have starter difficulties with your Crosleys or not, but if so, hope that helps. I can also say that I think it would probably be nice to come up with something. It may be a starter with a shorter Bendix, for example. My original thought was that possibly I could move that starter Bendix up on the shaft, but that's not possible because that rear bolt of the starter goes through a shaft, goes through a hole in the shaft, and it's not adjustable. But maybe they make one with a shorter shaft with a hole drilled, or maybe you could shorten the shaft and drill a hole. But then you come into the other problem, which is the other end of that starter comes up to the back. The other end of that Bendix comes right up into the back of that starter and can only be moved so much. So I'm not sure if there's a better workaround, but sometimes just knowing what the problem is takes you a long way toward figuring out how to fix it. And that's why I made this video, so that I could share it specifically with Mrhevyshevy and any other Crosley owners out there who are having a similar problem. They may come up with more, what's the word? More lovely. That's a good word that Steve Raines would use, and he's a Crosley guy. They may come up with a more lovely fix than the one that I just used. Okay, wherever you are, I hope you're having a nice day with your Crosley. I'd love to get mine out and do donuts in the snow, and I may before this is all over, but we'll see. We will see.